Hello, and welcome to my home. Out of all this time that we've done this in the COVID-19 crisis, I haven't had to do this from my house at all. Our church right now, the reason we're not having service tonight is because it's just completely taken apart so that we could have some warranty work done on the carpet. It's beautiful and it's already in, and we're excited about it for Sunday. It'll take them a while to get it all put back together. And so welcome to this Bible study, and we're thrilled that you've decided to join us tonight. I have an interesting Bible study that I want to talk about with you. I was the other day watching the Hoover Institute, which I find very interesting to me, and they were talking about allies, and they were talking about partnerships and national and geopolitical relationships. And one of the things that they were saying was that the reason alliances are so important is because someone may want to wage a war against you or your satellites or whatever. But if you're using an alliance and you, for instance, are using some of France and their technology and their satellites, someone may want to go to war with you, but they may not want to go to war with France. So that being said, they teased out the idea in long form as to what alliances and partnerships really mean. And it got me thinking about friendships and alliances in my own life. God's been very good to me and has given Malia and I some wonderful friends, both here locally in our church in Yucaipa and also all over the world. And so our peer group and our friends, God has put them in our life, but more than just God putting them in our life, it seems like we have sought friends that are promoting certain things. So I want you to look with me in your Bibles tonight in John chapter 15, and verse number 15 is the first scripture reference that I'll use. While you're turning there, when most people think of how to choose their friends, they have more of a casual or a worldly approach to it, such as, we have mutual interests. We like the same hobbies. We like to eat the same foods. But friendship, and especially when you think of true friends, it should transcend personal preferences and should really become an incorporated kingdom concept in our life. Now, tonight I'm teaching this Bible study, and the title of it is The Art of Picking My Friends. It's very challenging to have friendships that are both enjoyable and easy to be with, and to have friendships that are promoting the things that God wants them to promote in our life. John 15:15, Jesus says, "From here on, I call you no more servants, for the servants know not what his Lord does, but I have called you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you." This is extremely important because the idea transcends I serve God, and true friendship becomes something that replaces the abject servanthood idea. And so Jesus told his disciples that he called them friends. And it's very interesting to me how he put together this group of friends in his life. We know, according to the book of Luke, that at one time he had as many as 70 disciples and many more than that. But he had this personal core group of his disciples that eventually became what we know of as the 12 apostles. Now, it is important that we choose our friends and our friendships very wisely. And choosing friends should not be a haphazard thing in your life. It shouldn't be something where we just say, well, we just liked the same hobby, and so therefore we became. Now, you can have fast friends or casual friends, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the study. But true friends should meet 6 or 7 or 8 qualifications in your matrix for how you're choosing friends. And one of the things I want to do in this Bible study is encourage you to be proactive about picking and choosing your friends and not just reactionary. Sometimes I feel like when we're just reactive, well, we all end up in the same place, so therefore those are my friends. Go outside of your place and find friends that promote what God is doing, both in your life and in the kingdom of God at large. Now, many churches want to foster friendships, and ours included. We're very interested in getting, people to bond together. Not just a church function all the time, but building true friendships and relationships that go into the world at large. But if we're not careful, what we do is we create a buddy system. And that buddy system is, we like the same things. His personality or her personality connects with mine, therefore we're buddies. But friendship in the biblical concept and model should be much larger than just buddies. Most folks are a little too quick to call someone a true friend. And meaning not that you should be closed and have a closed clique system, but that you should be careful as to what you let speak into your life and how that speaks into your life. The reason is obvious. A person's destiny is often determined by those people who are closest to them in regards to quality time spent, mutual goals, and common purpose. So you are in a certain way, you are who you quote unquote hang out with. Here is some of the criteria that Jesus set up in his search and in his gathering of true inside friends. Let's look at this first one. This is extremely interesting to me. Luke chapter 6 and verse number 12 and 13. We have heard this passage preached all the time about Jesus going all night long into the mountain alone to pray. But rarely do we understand why he was praying and what particular need drove him to that mountain alone to pray for that extended period of time. And when you read the next verse, you realize it's made evident what he was doing. Luke chapter 6 and verse 12. And it came to pass in those days that he went out into a mountain to pray and continued all night in prayer to God. And when it was day, he called unto him his disciples, and of them he chose 12, whom he also named apostles. What he was actually praying about all that night was, who do I bring in to my inner circle? Who are my closest friends in this venture that I'm about ready to take on? So the first thing that really, really impressed me about the biblical model of the art of picking friends is it didn't open up with laying out a matrix that says, okay, both of us like steak, therefore we're common interest buddies, or we both like to play golf, or we both like to do winter sports and downhill skiing. It wasn't that. He went away and he prayed. Who do I need to form the composite of the inner circle around me that's speaking into my life and being with me in these trials and in these situations? So I encourage you, when you're picking friends, spend extended periods of time in prayer. And if you're a young person or a child and you're at home tonight watching this, let me just tell you, my kids are in this room with me right now. And they can look at their dad and mom and think, well, the peer pressure's off and, daddy, he already has his friends. But anybody who has ever got a new job, you know that the peer pressure is still existing and that it's still this pressure of who are my friends here. You don't want to get in with the wrong crowd. You don't want to run with people that are just like interest, and you don't want to run with just people who are different for different sakes. You really want someone who's going to help you through what you're going through. And so picking friends is an art that you're going to need to master this skill throughout your life. I know that through my adult life, my kids wouldn't know this, my family would. I have been in multiple fellowships, and I've been in different groups. And when I come into a new group, I was asking myself, what do I want to align myself with? Well, how do you pick? You don't know these people. You've never met them. They may appear very friendly and warm, and then only to find out later on that this is not who I'm interested in aligning myself with. And so the casual observer that just wanders into a new church or a new job or a new fellowship or a new school, if you're a young person, some of you are going out of middle school and into high school this coming year. When you get there, how do you pick friends that are on the right path? Well, I can't exaggerate this point. You go spend extended time in prayer about who you run with. God, who do you want in my life? Who is it? I've got a lot of disciples and friends around me, Jesus was praying. But there's 12 that's getting ready to become something different than just the casual acquaintance or those that are just in my life. How do I pick them? How do I choose them? He spent all night in prayer. The second thing he did was he chose friends who lived lives of obedience to God. John chapter 15 and verse number 14, he says, "You are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you." Obviously, that doesn't apply to me. I can't look at all my friends and say, "You're my friend if you do everything I command you." But be that as it may, in the God-centered life, I have to pick friends that are doing what God commands them to do. Those have to become the inner circle of my life, that are able to speak into my life, that are able to participate in ministry and in friendship with me. So he says, "I call you friends if you do what I commanded." It would be foolish for a believer to make their closest friends and confidants people who live purposeless lives before the Lord. Why would I want to bring people into the inner circle and the very closest relationship with me if they fundamentally are not doing the purpose of God? Not just the will of God, but the purpose of God. And so you want to pray about it. And then number two, you want to make sure that those people are living in the purpose of God. So there's a bit of a balance here, because Luke chapter 7 and verse 34 tells us that the Son of Man came eating and drinking. And you say, "Behold, he is a gluttonous man." This is Luke 7:34. "And a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners." But you have to ask the question, was he friendly? Yes, he was friendly. Was he friends with them? Yes. But you never find him spending the night with them. You never find him walking the sea of Galilee with him. You never find them out on extended trips together, because his truest friends were those who were doing what God commanded them to do in the purpose of their life. So yes, we're friendly to sinners and friendly to people. And that's what people just want. They want someone who is a friend. And I want to be a friend to sinners. And I want to be a friend to publicans or people who are not aligned with my trajectory. But at the same point, I want to be able to be cautious and say that friendship is, I'm speaking into their life with the intent that I would win them, not letting them pour into me. There's a difference. You never find Jesus asking those types of friends, "Hey, what do you think I should preach tomorrow?" Or "Where do you think I should live?" Or "What do you think my job should be?" He's very focused and very purpose driven in his way of living. So he's friendly to them, but he's not letting that become a two-way street. So there's a balance there. He hung out with them in the sense that he wanted to win them, but he wasn't living among them and aligning himself with them. And so the takeaway to that is, I shouldn't have close friends and be overly bonded to these types of people if they are not themselves welded to the purposes of God in their own life. The third part of the art of picking friends is Jesus chose his friends to be with him in order to send them out. So Jesus had the direct purpose in his life that when you're my friend, it is for the purpose of you going out and not just being suffocated by my own personality or by my own ministry, but that I would send you out. Mark chapter 3 and verse 14 says, he ordained 12 that they should be with him, okay, and that he might send them forth to preach. Notice that. I ordain you that you would be with me, that I would send you out. So, I've never done well. I just, thinking about this, getting ready to teach this, I've never done well with high maintenance friendships. I've never done well with the people that are best buds where, okay, we're best buddies, therefore we're against somebody else or nobody else can come in. I've lost all of my high maintenance friends over the years in my life. I'm not very good at keeping the ones that suffocate you, and they take up all the oxygen and energy out of your life. Because the idea of true biblical friendship is, I want you to come in and be with me so that you can go out and be what God's called you to be with them. So the idea that we are best friends, now let's become best recluse buddies together and let's hide. No, that's not the biblical definition of friendship. Friendship is, let's cross paths together. Let's fellowship. Let's add to each other so that when we're done being together, we both need somewhere to go. I think if anything, COVID-19 and this crisis has taught us everybody needs somewhere to go. I love my wife. Malia and I have a great relationship, but I need to go somewhere and she needs me to go somewhere, and because you got to have your space. And so friendships that are suffocating, they are oftentimes crutches for something that's wrong inside of somebody. They're over-reliant, okay, on that relationship, and they charge that relationship an incredible usury rate to the point that it normally breaks down because you're like, enough is enough, But the reality is Jesus showed us in the art of picking friends, pick people to be with you because they're going to go out and preach or go forth in their own purpose. So it's very, very important that when you're picking friends, don't just pick it that these people are obsessed with me, because it is draining to have people in life that attach themselves to you that they don't have anywhere to be. They don't have a purpose in their life, and it becomes extremely hard and taxing to deal with those types of people. You have to, in the art of finding and picking your friends, pick people that have something to do. They have somewhere to be, somewhere to go, because when they go out and do their calling, then when you come back together and you guys are now fellowshipping, you're bringing back the report, you're bringing back the good news, you're bringing back, other flow into that. There's life coming back into that. It isn't just, it doesn't matter how large a ship is. It doesn't matter how huge. It could have thousands and thousands of tonnage, displacement tons, and the weight of that ship is huge. But if too many little barnacles get on the bottom of that boat, it can't move with a great amount of fluidity and just ease. It's a struggle. It's a burden. So you get too many of these types of friends that are attaching themselves like an obsessive compulsive type of an attachment. In the beginning, be careful, because in the beginning, that's very, very, it'll puff you up. It'll be like, wow, these people really, really need me. And then you realize when you try to get your space, oh God, these people really, really need me. And they're going to have a meltdown if they don't have that constant point of contact. So Jesus said, I bring you in that you can be with me. But the point of being with me is that you can go from me and go out and live your purpose. So in the art of picking friends, pick people that have pursuits and purpose in their life, because that's going to make the relationship very free-flowing, enjoyable, and not as taxing. Okay? So it's important that we learn that. Now, we have to learn to do life together. We have to learn to be together, but we also got to learn to go out from each other, give each other space. So in the art of picking your friends, make sure those friends more than, and I thought about this today, I even talked to somebody in our peer group and asked, how many do you think we really like the same stuff? I can count my friends, and very, very few of us do the same thing. We don't have the same hobbies, but we're very, very close, and that is because we're very purpose-driven, and we have this incredible relationship because each one's bringing something to the table. So beware of just creating a buddy system that is just more of you. That's a form of narcissism. Well, we are such good friends because we are the same. That's horrifying. Be very careful with that. Don't have a bunch of friends in your life because you guys think just alike. That's a terrifying thought to me. I want fresh thinkers. I want people that see it from a different perspective, and I want people that I can share with. And that brings us to the fourth point and criteria of picking friends. Jesus chose friends he could share his heart with. John 15:15 says, I call you friends now, for all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. Let me just say this, that one of the most beautiful things that we have in life is friendships that are not jealous of each other. I have friends in my life that I could pick up my phone and I could tell them, if I'm having the greatest day in the world, I can call and for 20 minutes just talk about everything that's going right. And they're celebrating with me. They're rejoicing. Their joy is just as great as my personal joy is. And when I call and I'm low and I'm venting, you got to have those people in your life. They hear me out. I can share with them. And so if you have friends, who are my real friends? Are they the people that I have to hedge everything and align a very careful political statement to make sure I'm not bragging? Well, those may be acquaintances, but that's not your real friends. Your real friends, you pick up the phone and say, you're not going to believe what God just did for me, and you're not going to believe the blessing I just got in my life. And they're going to rejoice with you. They're going to share with you. They're going to enjoy your successes. They're going to laugh with you. They're going to cry with you. But have people in your life that you can share with. If someone cannot understand your heart or believe in your vision, it will be difficult for them to be a true kingdom friend. They have to be able to align themselves with you and walk with you. Now, if you go down to John 15 and 16, you find that Jesus says, you have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, and whatsoever you shall ask of my Father in my name, he may give it unto you. Jesus was not reactionary when it came to friends. He wasn't, well, these are the people that's in my life. This is who's on my block. This is the people I work with or go to church with. Jesus handpicked his friends. It didn't matter where they were from. He didn't just go around and say, okay, well, I'm going to pick out, 4 guys from Nazareth, or I'm going to pick out, several guys from, Galilee because I like it up there. No, Jesus was very proactive. He said, you didn't pick me. Life didn't, happenstance and circumstance, that didn't pick my friends. Be intentional about your picking friends. Let me ask you this. Have you ever looked at somebody and thought, what a neat person they are? I like them. I wish I could be friends with them. Well, when that comes to your mind, that isn't you forlorningly or wantingly standing there pining and wishing. No, that's something in your psychological makeup saying what they are and what they have, I need them in my life. And so you begin to import those types of friends and go to them and open up and say, look, I need you. I need your voice in my life. I need that relationship. And so it is not, the world today has become very crass and arrogant about this. I don't know exactly how to say this. I don't want it to come out bad, but you're not a kiss up because you pursue a friendship. You're not somebody who's just a wannabe, or I mean, we all have words that we could put in there. I don't know that they're right. That's why I'm not saying them. But people say, oh, they're a kiss up, or they're just they want that. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Jesus said, I picked you. And so the greatest friendships I have in my life, I look back right now and I picked them. I picked them. I said, I want them in my life. I want to hear their voice. I want that relationship. And so all through this passage, we understand he's talking about salvation too, but the methodology that he uses for picking friends is very proactive. If you have somebody in your life that you would like to hear more from them or build a relationship with them, reach out to them. It's not wrong to say, man, you have such a winning personality, or whatever it is. I want you, I need your voice in my life. I want your voice in my life. Well, when that happens, that person is going to understand that this isn't just, they may not even like the same stuff you like. They may not like to eat out in restaurants you like to eat at. They may not like to golf or scuba dive or whatever. But there's something about you that they pick, they choose, and vice versa. Something about them that you pick and choose. And so my friends are very different than me, but they're the greatest set of friends I've ever had, because I'm not living my life just with, well, this is what's at my disposal. I'm coming to it saying, God, I want to be like you. I want to choose these alliances, these people that I can share with, these people that I can triumph with and sorrow with in my life. Consequently, we should determine in our hearts who we should pursue in a friendship. We don't merely pick those who desire to be close to you, but choose people based on a leading from God. If God prompts you that you need somebody in your life, pursue that. It's the art of picking godly friends. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. Jesus, at one point in Luke, there was 70 other disciples. But these 12 are the ones that Jesus chose. He picked them. And so you look at it, don't feel guilty because you pursue higher relationships. And people will say to you, oh, you think you're big shot, you're too good. Or no, it has nothing to do with that. It's not that I'm just not content living in the same pond with the same four perspectives. I want outside influence and voice in my life. And so I'm coming to the table and I'm going to present a proactive approach to it. The final thing that I'd like to talk about is Jesus' friends accepted his very hard sayings. In John 6:66, he says, from that time many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. Then said Jesus unto the 12, will you also go away? Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? Jesus spoke harsh things to his friends. His friends weren't built on, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. Jesus was very deliberate. He was very intentional. He was very purposeful in his approach. And his friends accepted that kind of friendship. Any friendship that cannot have hard sayings meaning tough conversations, where you come to that person and say, can I just talk to you about this or that part of your life and the way that you're handling this situation. A true friend should be able to handle those types of conversations. Your true friends will stand by you even when God gives you an incredible and hard mission or something that they don't necessarily like. Let me just say this. I'll take my brother Johnny and just use him for an illustration. I'm sure that if Johnny was sitting in this room with me tonight, there are things that have happened in my life, scheduling, things that have taken a life of its own. You know, I'm pastoring a church and traveling on mission fields, and Johnny is starting a business. And so I'm sure that if you ask Johnny tonight, he would say there's parts of the mission that my brother has accepted that I wish it was different. Okay? We're not building our friendship, but yet we're very close. And the reason we're very close is because he's a friend to me that accepts the hard sayings. He's able to say, well, it's not necessarily what I want to hear, but if this is what you feel like God has called you to do and be, then I support that, even if I disagree with how it plays out. There's a part of us that would always love to go back to the simpler, the littler, I guess the more just casual, and life takes on, and you feel like you have these mandates from God. But that relationship between me and my brother has not deteriorated because true friendship handles these hard tasks and hard sayings that get layered onto it. It doesn't dodge this. The other thing is that Jesus' friends were those who stood by him in the tests and in the trials. Luke 22 and 28 and 29 says, "Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father hath appointed unto me." This shows that his closest friends were those who stuck it out with him in the trials. They didn't want to see him die. They didn't want to see him crucified. They wanted that kingdom to come. They wanted that throne to be set up. And Jesus said, I have a cross coming. That's a hard saying. So get friends in your life that stick by you when you're down for the count. I tell my kids all the time, number one rule we have, you never, ever, ever, ever kick a man or woman when they're down. When everyone's piling on, man, you just back up and let them breathe. Don't pile on with them. And God will often allow you to go through a severe personal or ministerial trial to test those around you, to demonstrate who your real friends are. No ministry is without its troubles, and no person is without theirs. And those are self-evident proof that you've chosen the right friends when you don't have to get a new group of friends every 2 years. And so in our life, I told somebody the other day, I said, listen, I've had all the disfellowshipping I care to have for the rest of my life. I don't ever want to be in a situation like that again. And so based on that perception and that opinion that I have, I'm not going to live my life getting a new set of friends every 2 or 3 years, or people falling out of my good graces and they're no longer my buddies. I'm not living like that. I'm deliberately, I'm spiritually, and I'm biblically choosing my friends. And when I choose those people in my life, I'm not looking for ways to get away from them. Now, here's the other thing. You can only build with those who are faithful to you during difficult times, and not just in the times that you're doing well. So I encourage you to take these 5, 6 things and establish the art of picking friends. So let's review real quick, okay? Number 1, pray. Spend extended periods of time in your life. God, who do you want me to have as a friend in my life? Who can I be with? Number 2, make sure your friends are living in obedience
to God and the purpose of God. Number 3, choose your friends to be with you in order that they can be sent out and do great things in and for God. Number 4, Jesus chose his friends so that he could share his heart with them. Pick friends you can share with. Number 5, proactively choose your friends. Don't let the world tell you that's kissing up or that's, you're one. Man, have a mission. I'm here to get friends that build me up. I'm going to surround myself with the best people I can in my life and the easiest relationships that I can. Number 6, Jesus' friends accepted his hard sayings and stood with him in the darkest of hours. Ask God to help you develop the art of picking friends. And if you will pick your friends, you will go through your life and have a great testimony that God has given you a great company of relationships around you. Brother Ballestero once said, and I presume that he borrowed it from somewhere, but Brother Ballestero once said that if at the end of a man's life, if he has 5 friends that are absolute and loyal, he is a success and he has done great things. I want to tell you, I believe that we can achieve that and more in God. But develop the art of picking your friends. I hope and pray. I look at my life and God has blessed me with people in my life and around me that these relationships are beautiful and bountiful. And I pray that God will give you the same blessings that he has given me, and that is wonderful friends. I love you, and we'll see you Sunday. God bless you.